How to protect your peace without isolating yourself. Have you ever had one of those days where it feels like the whole world is just too loud? The phone keeps ringing, the neighbor's dog won't stop barking, someone on TV is yelling about politics again, and all you want is just a little peace and quiet. But here's the thing, sometimes, in trying to protect our peace, we start pulling away. We stop answering calls, stop going to the weekly coffee meetup, even avoid the people we love most, because everything just feels too much. That craving for peace is real. And at this stage in life, it becomes more important than ever. Our bodies don't bounce back from stress the way they used to. Our minds, too, feel more sensitive to emotional noise. The truth is, peace is no longer a luxury, it's a necessity. But here's the catch, if we're not careful, the walls we build to keep chaos out can also keep connection out. And that's a dangerous trade-off, because while peace nourishes the soul, connection keeps the heart alive. So the real question becomes, how do we protect our peace without shutting people out? How do we create space for ourselves without ending up completely alone? It starts with knowing that you have a right to both. You don't have to choose between peace and people. You can have both, if you learn how to set gentle boundaries that protect your well-being without cutting off love. It's like tending a garden. You don't stop letting sunshine in, but you might put up a fence to keep the deer from eating your roses. One of the first things to understand is that your time and energy are valuable. Just because you're retired or have more hours in the day, doesn't mean you owe every minute to everyone else. There's a subtle pressure people feel after 60, like they're expected to always be available. Babysit the grandkids. Volunteer. Help neighbors. Join this, show up for that. And while all those things can be meaningful, they can also become overwhelming if you're never saying no. You don't need a long excuse. I'm resting today, or I need a quiet afternoon, is more than enough. It's not selfish, it's self-care. And the people who truly care about you will understand. The ones who don't, well, maybe they needed that boundary more than you realized. And here's something else that might surprise you. Sometimes peace means letting go of certain conversations. You don't have to engage in every argument. Not every opinion needs your response. You've lived long enough to know that some battles just aren't worth your breath. If someone constantly brings negativity into your life, whether it's a friend, a relative, or someone in your community, you're allowed to take a step back. This doesn't mean cutting them off entirely. It just means protecting the space around your heart. Maybe you limit how often you talk. Maybe you change the subject. Maybe you respond with silence instead of defense. That silence? It's not weakness. It's wisdom. But, and this is important, protecting your peace isn't about building walls so high no one can climb over. Isolation can creep in quietly. First, you skip one event. Then another. Soon, your calendar is empty, and your days are filled with silence, not the calming kind, but the lonely kind. The kind that echoes. That's why it's so important to stay connected in ways that feel gentle and good. Maybe you don't like big groups anymore, but one-on-one coffee dates, phone calls with old friends, or short walks with a neighbor. Those can feed your soul without draining it. You get to choose the pace. You get to say how much is enough. And here's something really powerful, you can teach people how to treat you. Not by shouting or pushing them away, but by consistently showing up in the way you want to be treated. If you value calm, speak calmly. If you want kindness, offer it first. If you need space, express it with love. People respond to the tone you set more than the words you use. You might be surprised how quickly they adjust when you lead with grace. Sometimes, protecting your peace is also about your environment. Look around your home. Does it feel like a place that gives you energy, or drains you? Are there little things you could change to make it feel more like a retreat and less like a to-do list? Even small touches, like soft music, cozy lighting, or keeping one corner just for reading, can shift the atmosphere. Peace doesn't always come from what you remove. Sometimes, it comes from what you gently add. And above all else, remember this, peace is not the absence of noise. It's the ability to remain calm within it. Life will always have its moments, surprises, stress, setbacks. But if you know how to anchor yourself, you can move through it all with steady hands and an open heart. Now, once you've made space for peace inside your home and inside your mind, the next step is understanding how to carry that peace into your relationships. Because it's one thing to find calm when you're alone, but it's something entirely different to hold onto that calm when you're in the company of others. One of the simplest but most powerful ways to do that is by learning how to respond, not react. You know what I mean. Someone says something that rubs you the wrong way, and your first instinct is to snap back. Maybe it's a relative who brings up politics at dinner, or a friend who always seems to compete with your stories. It stirs something inside you, right? But in that tiny pause between what they say and what you do next, that's where your peace lives. You don't have to prove yourself. You don't have to fix every misunderstanding. Sometimes the most graceful thing you can do is take a breath and say nothing at all. Or simply smile and change the subject. It's not about avoiding conflict, it's about choosing your peace over your pride. But that doesn't mean you let others walk over you. There's a quiet strength in setting boundaries. The key is how you do it. Instead of saying, "You always stress me out," try, "I need to take a break from conversations like this, they don't feel good for me." It's amazing how the same truth can sound so different depending on the tone. And often, it's that gentleness that makes people listen more closely. Another thing to remember is this: peace isn't only about avoiding stress, it's also about embracing joy. And joy doesn't have to be loud or dramatic. It can be soft, simple. A warm cup of tea in your favorite chair. A walk where you notice the flowers blooming. A shared laugh with someone who truly sees you. Too often, we get caught in the habit of bracing ourselves for the next problem, the next bad news, the next hard moment. And while that might have made sense when life felt more chaotic or demanding, now we get to choose something else. We get to let joy in. That might mean reconnecting with an old hobby. Maybe you used to paint, or garden, or write little poems in your notebook. Maybe you loved baking but haven't touched a recipe in years. Try it again. Even if it's messy. Even if it doesn't turn out perfect. These are the things that bring quiet happiness, the kind that fills your soul without needing applause. And you know what else creates peace? Letting go of what you can't control. We spend so much time holding on to worry. Worry about our children, our health, the world. But worrying never fixed a thing. What helps more is asking, what can I do today to feel steady? Maybe it's moving your body. Maybe it's calling someone you love. Maybe it's just sitting with your own thoughts and not judging them so harshly. You've lived enough years to know, life comes in waves. Some days will be loud. Some people will be difficult. But you don't have to go with every tide. You can choose which wave to ride, and which one to let pass. That choice, that's where your strength is. And speaking of strength, it takes courage to stay open after life has bruised you. After disappointments, after betrayals, after losses. But peace doesn't mean hiding from the world. It means showing up softer, wiser, more deliberate. It means saying, I've been through enough. I know what matters now. And I'm not here to prove anything. I'm here to feel alive. You still need people. Even if it's just a few. Even if it's just one. That's not weakness, it's being human. But you don't need the whole crowd. You need connection, not chaos. You need love, not noise. So reach out, just enough to stay connected. Not so much that you lose yourself. Maybe it's a neighbor you wave to on your morning walk. Maybe it's a weekly phone call with a friend who listens without judgment. Maybe it's joining a small group where people gather not to impress each other, but just to be together. You don't have to be everywhere. But you don't have to disappear either. Because in the end, protecting your peace isn't about escape, it's about creating a rhythm to your days that feels good in your body and true in your heart. And when you find that rhythm, that balance between time for yourself and time with others, something beautiful happens. You stop running. You stop explaining. You just live. Fully. Quietly. Joyfully. One of the most empowering things you can do at this stage in life is recognize that peace is not a destination you reach once and for all. It's something you return to, day by day, moment by moment. It's not about perfection or silence or having all the answers. It's about being able to sit with yourself, as you are, and say, this is enough. I am enough. And that simple shift, from chasing peace to choosing it, changes everything. Because peace isn't found in cutting people out of your life completely. It's found in understanding which voices help you grow and which ones make you shrink. It's in noticing how your body feels after a conversation. Are you lighter? Or more drained? That awareness alone can guide you toward the relationships that nourish you, the kind where you don't have to pretend or prove or perform. You can just be. If you've ever felt like peace meant sitting in a quiet room by yourself, I want to offer something gentler. Peace can also be sitting with someone who sees you, hears you, and accepts you exactly as you are. Sometimes, that's even more healing than solitude. Of course, it takes courage to stay connected when your instinct says to pull away. Maybe you've been hurt before. Maybe certain people remind you of things you'd rather forget. But healing doesn't mean erasing the past, it means learning how to live well with it. To carry it, yes, but not let it control you. And that begins with choosing how much energy you give to old wounds versus new joys. So, let yourself lean into what feels safe, warm, and honest. That's what peace is. It's not just the absence of noise, it's the presence of love. Of trust. Of comfort in your own skin. If you find that loneliness sometimes sneaks in, even when you're doing your best to stay balanced, that's okay too. Loneliness is not a sign you've done something wrong. It's a sign that you're human, and that your heart still longs for connection. That longing doesn't make you weak, it makes you beautifully alive. What matters most is how you respond to that feeling. Do you reach out? Do you invite someone in, even if just a little? Protecting your peace doesn't mean shutting the door. It means opening it carefully, wisely, and only when it feels right. Sometimes that connection comes from unexpected places. A conversation with a stranger at the grocery store. A comment from someone who watched a video just like this one. A memory shared with a grandchild who suddenly understands you in a new way. These little threads of connection can stitch together a life that feels rich and whole, even if it's quiet, even if it's slow. There's also a kind of peace that comes from being in tune with yourself, knowing what you need without guilt or hesitation. Maybe you need to rest more. Maybe you need to say no without over-explaining. Maybe you need to cry when no one's watching. Or laugh at your own silly thoughts. Or spend a full hour doing absolutely nothing. That's not wasted time, that's sacred time. And when people see you honoring yourself in those ways, it sets an example. It shows that aging doesn't mean disappearing. It means becoming more of who you are, not less. It means understanding your worth so deeply that you no longer chase things that disrupt your peace. Not out of bitterness, but out of wisdom. So protect your peace, but don't protect it so fiercely that you wall yourself off from the world. Let it be a soft kind of strength. One that lets in the right kind of noise, music that moves you, voices that uplift you, stories that remind you how far you've come. There's a quiet revolution in living this way. And saying, I still matter. My energy still matters. My peace is sacred, and so is my connection to others. It's a balancing act, yes. But it's one worth practicing every day. Because peace without people can become silence. And people without peace can become chaos. But peace with people, the right people, that's harmony. And that's where the real beauty of these years can shine. So if you're watching this and nodding, thinking, yes, this is what I've been needing, then you're not alone. There are millions of others just like you, craving quiet, but not loneliness. Craving depth, but not drama. Craving simplicity, but not isolation. And I want you to remember something, it's never too late to create a life that feels right. A life where your peace is protected, your heart is open, and your connections are meaningful. If this message spoke to you today, take a moment to share how you protect your peace in the comments. Let others know they're not alone in walking this path. And if you found this video helpful, go ahead and tap that like button. Subscribe to the channel if you'd like more content that speaks to your soul and supports your journey. Because you deserve peace, not the kind that hides you away, but the kind that lets you live fully, love deeply, and walk through each day with gentle strength. Here's to living with heart, with grace, and with peace that doesn't cost your joy. You've earned that. You always have.